Roxann Abrams is visiting with us tonight.
Good evening.
Roxann.
Thank you for coming out tonight, and I'm honored to be here with you. We are the land of the free because of the brave. And I'm going to speak to you from a personal standpoint. I'm a Gold Star mother. And that means that I lost a child in active duty service. I lost my son, Sergeant First Class Randy Abrams, in 2009 after he returned from his third tour in Iraq. He took his own life one night while he was sleeping, the night before he was supposed to go to drill sergeant school at Fort Benning, Georgia. He put a .45 caliber gun to his head and pulled the trigger. Randy was still active duty, and he was never reported AWOL by the military. Obviously, he never showed up for drill sergeant school. He was never reported missing. They never went to look for him. No one did in the military. His friends all thought that he was gone to school. My son lay dead in his home for 33 days before he was found. And the only reason that someone went to look for him was because it was mid-month and he hadn't paid his rent. So his landlord called his commanding officer wanting to know how they could help him collect his rent. Obviously, I don't fault the landlord. He had no idea that anything had happened. My son's death and thousands like him are unnecessary and easily preventable. Randy died because he did not get the help that he needed after he came back from serving on the battlefield. There is no way to teach someone how to handle the horrible atrocities that they deal with on the battlefield, of having to kill people, of watching others be killed and maimed in front of your very eyes. There's no way to prepare someone to do that. But there is help for people when they come back. And my son died, and there's thousands dying like him because they're not getting the help that they need. The suicide rate here is now, today, in 2013, is up to 22 combat veterans per day. And that is a statistic from the Department of Defense. That isn't something that I've made up coming here, speaking to you tonight. And it's worse today than it was when my son died in 2009, 4.5 years ago. After my son died, I was appalled to learn of these rates. And I said, I just can't sit by and watch these people die and not do anything. So I founded an organization called Operation IV. What does that mean? Operation IV stands for an intravenous of help for an Iraq veteran, and now to include our Afghanistan veterans as well. We provide medical services and other services that our troops need to make that successful transition back into society. The military and the VA are not stepping up to the plate to do what they need to do for our returning combat veterans. That's just plain and simple. They clearly admit they don't know what they're doing. And I think when people admit they don't know what they're doing, we should believe them. And we need to come up with some other ways of handling things. So Operation IV is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, doing just that. Out of my profound grief and my relentless anger towards the military and our government for not stepping up to the plate, VIP was born, and that's a Veteran Intervention Plan. That's the name of our treatment program at Operation IV, and it's a unique specialized treatment program that is geared specifically for combat veterans. I understand that the Army and the Department of Defense wants to say that about 20% of our combat veterans have PTSD, and to use Barry's word with the bull in the middle, in the beginning, and we'll do the stars at the end, that's just not true. A normal person can't experience the things that our combat veterans experience and come back not being negatively affected with PTSD on some level. Now, it is true that not all combat veterans get to the suicidal level, but it is true that untreated PTSD ruins their lives, ruins their families' lives, ruins their children's lives. The unemployment rate and the divorce rate among our combat veterans is skyrocketed. It's like triple of the normal population. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, all of those statistics are triple the normal population. And that's directly related to untreated PTSD and improperly treated PTSD. A recent CBS News report contains several VA doctors that have spoken out and are specifically stating that what the problems are with the VA and that they're not able to do what they need to do for these combat veterans because VA protocol government policies prohibits that. I wonder if they still have jobs after that. I haven't checked, but I'm wondering if they do. One of their leading physicians clearly stated, and I quote, "The leadership in the VA does not care what happens to our combat soldiers." I was shocked to actually hear the leadership of the VA admit that, although not surprised that that's actually the case. This attitude towards those who keep us free in not taking care of them is just inexcusable. It makes me see red to the core of my being. Coupled with the other things that our Congress has slacked in, I'm of the mindset that we should just fire them all and start over. From a business perspective, now come on. What company continues to pay people for not doing their job? For not stepping up to the plate and taking care of their responsibilities? In my opinion, that equals fired. You're fired. You're done. You don't have a job anymore. And all those vacancies in Congress, their salaries, that do great for our United States bank account. They're not doing anything anyway. So it's not like we would be losing out on the great work they're doing while they're empty seats. There just isn't anything that can replace a slacking person except for a person that is doing their job. I see this as a win-win situation all the way around. Let's just fire them all and start over again. For our combat veterans, this is the bottom line. Based on this continuing ridiculous congressional game of serve ourselves, as Barry so eloquently pointed out, the private sector is going to have to step up for our combat PTSD vets. There's no other way. This is going to require two parts. One is an effective PTSD treatment plan. Well, Operation IV can easily fill that role. Our treatment plan, VIP, is specifically geared to use private practitioners in every community across the United States. Practitioners which already exist. We don't need to create hundreds of millions of dollars in new office buildings and new staff. Our doctors already exist. And there's a multitude of services that are required to effectively treat PTSD. This way, every combat veteran can get the help that they need in their own backyard with practitioners that live in their community, their local community. Second is money. PTSD treatment's not free. And we as an American citizens owe it to every combat veteran to provide them with the best PTSD treatment they can get when they return from the battlefield. Ante up for them through Operation IV. This is how you say thank you to our servicemen and women.
If you love our country or a combat veteran, give generously. Your donation will make a difference in a soldier's life. Go to OperationIV.org and give generously now.